organized into different sections, each with specific purposes. So first, let us explore one by one. So first is documentation. So in this section, it contains comments which explain the program's purpose, functionality, and usage. And it is crucial for understanding the code, especially for large and complex programs. Then second one is preprocessor. So this section which includes directives that control the compilation process. The common preprocessor directives include include for importing header files and define for creating macros. And then third is global declaration. So this section declares variables and functions that can be accessed from anywhere in the program. Global variables should be used sparingly as they can make code harder to maintain. Okay. And then fourth is main function. So this is the entry point of every C program. Program execution begins here. And then fifth is local declaration. So this section declares variables that are only accessible within a specific function or block of code. Local variables are generally preferred over global variables to improve code readability and maintainability. And then sixth is program statements. So this section contains the actual instructions that the program will execute. It's where the program's logic is implemented. Okay. And then I'll see here are some rules for writing the C programs. So first one is all statements should be written in lowercase. So this is a convention to improve the readability. And then second is all statements should end with a semicolon. So this marks the end of the statement. And then uppercase letters are used for symbolic constants. So this is a convention to distinguish constants from variables. And then blank spaces can be inserted between words. So this improves readability, but it is not required actually. And then no blank space while declaring a variable, keyword or constant. So this is to avoid syntax errors. You can write one or more statements on the same line separated by commas. This can save space but can make code less readable. And then finally is opening and closing braces should be balanced. So this is important for the correct execution of the program. So these rules are not strictly enforced by the compiler, but following them will help you write clean and maintainable code. Okay. So here this code, it provides a visual representation of the structure of a program. It breaks down into several key sections. Okay, so first is documentation section. We have seen what is that already. So it contains comments that explain the program's purpose, functionality and usage. It's crucial for understanding the code, especially for large and complex programs we have seen. And then link section. So this includes the preprocessor directives, that is include and define, I said, right? And then definition section. So this defines functions and variables used in the program. Then global declaration section. So this declares variables that can be accessed from anywhere in the program. Global variables should be used sparingly as they can make code harder to maintain. And then main function section. This is the entry point of every C program, as I said earlier. Program execution begins here. Okay. And then this is divided into two parts. So that is a declaration part and executable part. So declaration part, it declares variables that are used within the main function. Executable part contains the actual instructions that the program will execute. And then here first we'll see the continuation of this. First is a command line. So here this is called as a multi-line comment which explains the purpose of the program. Okay, and then these are preprocessor directives. It is include stdio.h. So it includes the standard input output library for the functions like printf and scanf. include conio.h. This includes the console input or output libraries for functions like getH. Okay, for that these preprocessor directives are used. And then global declaration. So here it is, constant float pi is equal to 3.14. So this declares the constant pi with a value 3.14 using const ensures that the value of pi cannot be changed later in the program. Okay, it is constant. Then main function, void main, which defines the main function, the entry point of the program. Void indicates that the function does not return any value. Local declaration and initialization. Float area, so declares a floating point variable area to store the calculated area. And then int r, which declares an integer variable r to store the radius of the circle. Okay, and then finally execution. So printf, it prompts the user to enter the radius of the circle. Then scanf, it reads the integer value from the user and stores it in the variable r. For that we will be using as %d, that is for reading the integer value. Okay, and then formula, this calculates the area of the circle using the formula. Okay, area is pi r square. And then finally printf, so the area of the it prints the calculated area to the console. Okay, get ch. So this passes the program until a key is pressed, preventing the console window from closing immediately. Okay, so this general example which illustrates how the different components of a C program work together to solve a specific problem. So by understanding this structure, you can effectively create and analyze C programs. Okay. So here, as you have seen this earlier, one by one, as documenting all the 6 sections of a structure of a program. So first is the documentation section. So in this, it is used for providing comments within the code. We have seen this earlier. Okay, in compiler, the comments are treated as a single white space by the compiler, meaning they are ignored during the compilation process. And then execution. So comments are not executable, so they have no effect on the program's output. And then syntax, comments are enclosed with slash asterisk and asterisk slash symbols. And then about this content, comments can include program name, statement descriptions, or any other relevant information to improve the code readability. Okay, we have seen program to find area of a circle. This is an example of a comment section. And then next is preprocessor section. So this contains instructions of a compiler known as preprocessor directives. Okay, so preprocessor directives are not part of the main C program. They are processed before the actual compilation begins. They start with the hash symbol. So common preprocessor directives include #include for importing header files and #define for creating macros. Header files are typically enclosed within angle braces. You could see here. And then these are examples, that is #include stdio.h. This we have seen earlier. This directive includes the standard input or output library, which provides functions like printf and scanf for formatted input and output operations. We have seen this in an example. Then #include conio.h. This directive includes a console input and output library, which provides functions like getch for getting a character from the console without echoing it. And then you have other examples as #include math.h. So this directive includes the math library, which provides mathematical functions like square root, sine, cos, etc. Then stdlib.h. This directive includes the standard library, which provides general purpose functions like malloc, that are malloc, free, rand, etc. Okay, you have keywords for this. And then #define PI 3.1412. So this directive defines a macro named PI with the value 3.1412. Macros are used to create symbolic constants, making code more readable and maintainable. Okay. And then these are preprocessor directives. #define. This is used to create macros, which are essentially text substitutions. So this allows you to define constants or create code blocks that can be reused. And then #include inserts the contents of another file, that is header file, into the current file. This is used to include standard libraries or custom header files. And then undefined undefines a previously defined macro. If diff, so just checks if a macro is defined. If it is, the following code block is processed. And then next is if diff. So this checks if a macro is not defined. If it is not, the following code block is processed. And then if, this evaluates a compile time expression and processes the following code block if the expression is true. Then else, the alternative block of code to be processed if the previous if condition is false. Then elif combines else and if into a single statement, allowing for multiple conditional checks. And then endif, it marks the end of the conditional preprocessor block started with if diff, or if endif. Okay. And then next error, this generates a compile time error with the specified message. Pragma, this provides compiler specific instructions or directives. So these directives are processed by the preprocessor before the actual compilation of the C code begins. They offer a way to control the compilation process, which includes external code and conditionally compile parts of the code based on certain conditions. And then third is global declaration section. So here this is used to declare global variables. We have seen this. Global variables are declared outside of all functions. So this can be accessed by any function within the program, and its usage is, it can be used by multiple functions, allowing data sharing between different parts of the program. Okay. So while global variables offer flexibility, excessive use can lead to code maintainability issues. So it's generally recommended to use local variables within functions whenever possible to improve code organization and reduce the potential side effects. Okay. The next section is main section. So this is always written in lowercase letters. Okay. Main function starts with an opening braces and ends with a closing brace. So here you have a declaration and executable section. So variables used within the main function are declared here in the declaration section. And statements that perform the actual calculations or operations are placed in the executable execution. Okay. And then main does not end with a semicolon. That is a notable one. Okay. So by understanding this structure, we can effectively organize your C programs and ensure proper execution flow. Next is local declaration section. So this section is used to declare variables that are used exclusively within the main function. The variables are called local variables, and these are only accessible within the main function and cannot be used by other functions in the program. Okay. Local variables can be initialized with basic data types like int, float, character, etc. So that is all for the structure of a C program. Thank you.